Hello everyone, welcome to our lunch session where we talk about perimeter security beyond the fence line. This also includes that we talk a little bit about intelligent perimeter security. My name is Rocky from Genetec, and along with me is Vijay from Bosch. Hi.
Hi. Hello everyone, my name is Vijay. I'm part of the EMEA product marketing team from Bosch, and I really look forward to this session along with the Genetec team.
So let's go to the intelligent perimeter security. Well, for us, intelligent perimeter security means that there is an intelligence behind it. It's not just a security system which informs you when somebody is breaching into your area, like a classic PID system. We will inform you when someone is already at your fence line or in front of your fence line or directing to your area. For that, we need the bullet points you see on the slide. First of all, we detect persons, vehicles, objects over long distances, which means you get the information before they're already at your property or at your area, right? Then, of course, we do it in different or challenging scenes like wintertime, thunderstorms, night, daytime. There are a lot of different scenes coming up. And we mix it a little bit with different sensors that you get the best out of it. Then, of course, minimize the false alarms, that the operators don't have to have a headache all the time and reduce the costs. And at the end, just minimize the false alarms, that you get the information when there is really someone on your property, right? And then, of course, tailor the system down to your needs so that you don't have an overloaded system. It should be a system which is really perfect tailored for your needs and also for your operators. And give the operators also more time to respond on it. So, for example, someone cut your fence. That's the information you get out of a normal PID system. But then the person is already at your fence. If the operator gets the information before the person is already cutting the fence, he has more time to respond on it, right? And then, of course, the situational awareness. We're working with buffer zones, or you can add different zones to it. But we will talk about it in more detail later on.
Yep.
So this is like an area looks like. You have your fence intrusion detection for your fence line, classic. And we put a virtual buffer zone in front of it, that the operators get the information when someone is at the fence already or in front of the fence. And of course, if the person is breaching in your property, we will track him on the property as well, that you always see the target and you never lose the target. The important points for us is that it should be easy to use. As I said already, more time to respond on it, and also reduce the costs and increase the efficiency of your team, of your operators, of your system, right? So what does more time to respond really means? It means that, first of all, we give the operators the real-time location of the target or of the objects. We also filter the alarms. So, for example, we can filter on cars, on drones, on anything you want to do. And also get the object classification for the operator. So the operator gets really the information he needs to work on the target. Never lose track. What does this mean? So we have an automated camera handover. That means when the person is moving on your field, we will automatically follow him. So it doesn't have to be done by the operator. Yeah. Of course, we use the PTZ intelligent tracking to do it. And afterwards, we use the forensic search to do the investigation on. Secure operations 24/7. This means that we can add as many zones as you want to your property. Maybe you have a different zone set up in the nighttime. Maybe there's a different zone set up in the daytime or for the weekends, or it doesn't matter. So we can do it however you want to do it. What is needed to get through this point? Well, first of all, RSA from Genetec, that's the software part. Then the IA, which we get from the IVA Pro from you guys.
Yes.
And of course, the hardware, the sensors from Bosch, the Bosch cameras. Where is the intelligent perimeter really needed? Which verticals? Well, first of all, everything which is a critical infrastructure, right?
Yeah.
Like oil, gas, data centers, you name it. transportation, airports, but of course buildings. For the buildings, the buffer zones are really important as an example. Also, for the airports, it's really important to reduce the time and the respawn time, or extend the respawn time on targets, right? So, but to break it down, it's really everything with a huge perimeter or in the critical infrastructure. Let's talk a little bit about RSA to get a better understanding about the software and later on about the hardware. Yeah. We have 9 key features in RSA. I will go through all of them, and later we will combine some of them for different use cases, and then we talk a little bit about the use cases. The first key feature is the target tracking on map. Well, if there is a target, we do a real-time tracking of the target on your map or, for the operators. So the operators don't have to do anything. And of course, we get the direction, we get the speed, we get the altitude, and we get also the status if it's an active target or if it's an inactive target. And as you can see on the map, you see the path of moving as well. So the operator knows where the object or the person comes from. So he has all the information he needs to respond on it. The second part is the automated camera handover. That means we always automatically switch to the nearest camera to the target. And it doesn't matter if it's a PTZ camera, because with the PTZ camera, we move to the target. But if it's a fixed camera, we just switch to the nearest fixed camera. And if there's a PTZ camera coming next, we are switching to the PTZ, and the PTZ is following the target, right? So that means that the operator always have the best perspective and view on the target without
losing track,
and he has nothing to do, right? So he just can really concentrate on the target. Then we have a direct integration with different technologies. It's radars, of course, fence sensors, laser, LiDAR, and video analytics. The great thing is that we can combine all of them on one perimeter and get the best resolution out of it. So as we talked before, if the thunderstorms are coming or the weather is changing, if you have an overlapping technology map, it will be more accurate than with just one device. But of course, everything is handled under one unified platform. The automatic target path fusion, what does it mean? Well, if you have 2 devices, there's a target moving from the first device to the second device, there could be a little bit of a difference in the line of moving, right? For the system, it would mean that there are 2 targets, but it's still one person. And that's what we mean with the path fusion. We fuse both lines together, so it's just one line, it's just one target for the system. So there's always a little bit of an inaccuracy between 2 devices, right? The fifth is, we already talked a little bit about it before, it's the area management. Well, you can do or set up as many areas as you want. It's important for geofencing or different zones for alarming. Maybe the parking lot has a different alarm scenario than your, I don't know, your backyard, or the front gate has a different alarm scenario, you name it, right? The important thing is you can set up all those areas on maintenance mode as well. For example, if someone is working on your property and you won't get an alarm all the time, you just put the area in maintenance mode, but you still see the movement. You just don't receive an alarm, but you can still follow up the persons and you still get the tracking. And of course, create a coverage zone or a buffer zone in front of your perimeter to get an early warning if someone is coming to your property, right? The sixth is the threat qualification. Well, the threat qualification means that if the operator sees the target and he gets the live video feed from the target, he can identify the person or the car if it's a friend or foe, or maybe it's undefined, or maybe it's a wild animal, doesn't matter. You can name it up front which different qualifications you want to have. So in this example, we have friend, foe, and undefined. So if the operator is clicking on the target and says it's a friend, he still will see it moving, but it won't raise an alert when it enters the right zone. But if he marks it as a foe, he will immediately receive an alarm when it's entering the first alarm zone. Mm-hmm. Then the target classification. The target classification means the object which is breaching into your property. What is it? Is it a car? Is it an animal? This information we get from the sensor. We just show it for the operator with a small icon. And if the object isn't correct, you can do a manual classification when you look on the video. But normally, we will get the information right off the sensor. The 8th point is the investigation task. Well, it's really simple to work on the investigation because it's just a playback. And all the videos are stored with it. And also, the path where the object was moving is also stored. So you can really do a smooth investigation later on. You can get all the different recordings from different angles, from the different cameras, whatever you need. And you get the reports from the zones, from the type, and you can filter on it, right? You can filter on only cars or filter only on animals, whatever is needed, right? The last point is really, really great. So we can create a heat map based on the hotspots of the intrusions. It could be used for maybe guard different areas more in the future, but it could be also used for maintenance things. Because if you only have, I don't know, right on the top, there's always an intrusion going on from wild animals. Maybe your fence is broken there, so you can send your maintenance guy there to fix the fence. So it can be used for different things like security, but also for maintenance reasons, or for future thinking guard tours or changing the guard tours in the future. Well,
yep.
Over to you.
Thanks, Rocky. Having talked about the RSA map technology, now we go to the next two parts. One is about the analytics, which is edge-based, which is on the camera, and also the sensor, the camera itself. So first, let's look at the analytics. So in Bosch cameras, we have analytics on the edge. That is, the analytics are inbuilt in the camera. And now we have introduced the IVA Pro, which is deep neural network-based algorithms which are running on the camera. For the application that we are talking about, the ideal fit would be the IVA Pro perimeter. And this particular analytics already helps you to detect objects at quite a large distances. But at the same time, it also understands what kind of object it is. And it also gives you the movement, which is important in the RSA map to detect where the person or the object is moving within the map. So this is based on the metadata which the camera generates, and this information is available from the camera. In addition to that, it also classifies the object. So it could be a person, it could be a vehicle near the perimeter, it could be even a motorbike or let's say someone on the bicycle. So all these different detections are possible right from the camera, and that is given back to Genetec and to the RSA map. Another important thing that we also do from the camera perspective is also give you the GPS coordinates and the speed data. This is quite unique because from the GPS data you can actually pinpoint it onto the map, and the level of accuracy is also quite high. I would like to show you some examples of what we have achieved with the camera. So here, this is a perimeter scenario where we have a person walking near the perimeter at a distance of 80 meters. So you clearly see the detection at 80 meters. We've pushed it further, and we did at 100 meters, 120 meters, even at 140 meters. And even at this distance from the camera, you clearly see that the person is detected and classified. We tried to push it to the highest limit, and we even did the 160. Here, the detection does happen, though classification is depending on the scene. And the main part of this is based on our new cameras, and the videos that we took were at 0 lux, so at pitch darkness, and the performance was quite good. And this is completely based on the IVA Pro perimeter. The next example is also another scenario which can happen, which is of a crawling object. So what we did is we took our cameras and cameras from competition and we just did the test, and you clearly see that we are able to detect the crawling object, in this case a person, quite effectively. We did it at 20 meters, then we did the same test also at 30 meters, and you see that the detection is quite good at the different distances that we try to achieve it. What is important is we are trying to create the different scenarios that can happen at a perimeter. Yeah, it could be people crawling, just as an example here. And this is, look at the distances that we are trying to cover. It's 110 meters. What Rocky earlier mentioned, that this solution is for long perimeters. Yeah, could be airports, could be, let's say, ports. And in such scenarios, you always have long perimeters. And then with the camera, you are able to detect it quite effectively. So the question that we always get is, how is your analytics so good? Yeah, how is it that in Bosch the analytics perform so well? Well, this comes from our history as well. So over 20 years, we have had analytics inbuilt in the camera, or let's say from Bosch as such. So whatever analytics we had in Bosch, from the different research development specialists that we have within the organization, we have also brought it to the camera level. We have been using our Bosch technology from the various divisions that we have, because at Bosch we also had driving, autonomous driving, driver assistance systems, robotics, and from all of this we use the R&D, the same set of engineers also to develop the analytics on the camera. And by doing that, we have quite a big know-how of this technology, and that's why you always get reliable detection even in really adverse climatic conditions as well. Let's say if it's raining a lot, thunderstorms and things like that, or a lot of windy conditions, even then you always see reliable detection from the camera. Now, coming to the sensor part. So what we have done is we have kind of brought it down to two particular models of cameras that we think fits perfectly for such applications, be it for perimeter, in critical infrastructure, or let's say buildings or transportation, airports, ports. These two cameras fit perfectly, and they have inbuilt AI in them based on deep learning. Yeah. So the first one that we have is the Denian 7100i. This is a bullet camera, quite a robust camera. It has all our imaging technologies to the highest level. We call it the Starlight X, which is the low light performance, which you also saw from how we detected it at 0 lux. It also has the HDRX when there is a lot of different lighting conditions that come to the scene. An IR detection distance of 120 meters. We can even push it up to 140 meters, and you see the performance of the camera. It has a robust design, so we have done a lot of tests on it. Let's say about the shock, the vibration, the corrosion, IK10. Yeah, all of this is covered by the camera. It's a much easier install, because one of the important things is, if you have a big perimeter and you want to install cameras, you should also be able to install it quickly, because at the end of the day, it is the ROI that you're looking at. Yeah, so easy to install from an installation perspective. And last but not the least is also the trusted. I will talk about this in a later slide as well, but data security is also very key, both for Bosch and for Genetec. And in this case, we have made a lot of efforts to make sure that the data security is at the best level. The next camera that I have is the Autodome. Rocky earlier mentioned about at a perimeter, you always have fixed cameras for the fixed view, and also PTZs, which always do a tour. Yeah. So we also have a new PTZ camera in our portfolio, which is called the Autodome 7100i. And this particular camera has also AI inbuilt in them. It is based on our CPP13 platform, and it has already inbuilt analytics. From an imaging perspective, yeah, I need not go into that. It has a 2 megapixel, also a 4K version with the different zoom options available. So quite a strong camera from an imaging perspective, but at the same time, robustness, let's say from the camera perspective, is also there. So it never loses the homing position, which is quite important, because over a period of time, as the PTZs do the tours, there is a chance that you will lose the homing position. Whereas in this camera, based on the mechanics within the camera, it never loses the homing position. So that is key. It is, again, for us, all cameras, what we focus on is easy to install. So this is also a quick one-hand installation concept, quite unique for this particular product. And at the same time, we also provide the data security and the 5-year warranty inbuilt in the camera. So quite a strong camera. And these two cameras fit perfectly for the application that we're talking about here. The next slide that I also have is about the data security. So for, like I always mention, for us and for Genetec, end-to-end data security is the key. And now Bosch has achieved the UL 2900-2-3 Level 2 cybersecurity certification. What this means is that Bosch does the necessary penetration test for any kind of vulnerabilities that can be there within the data security domain. And we also make sure that we manage all this cybersecurity efficiently. So this is one of the main certifications, and as a camera vendor, we completely comply to it. And you would also agree, Rocky, that data security, especially for these critical infrastructures, are quite important.
Yeah.
And all the end users always talk about it.
Absolutely agree on it.
Yeah. So that is also taken care of. Maybe now, Rocky, you can also explain the different use cases, having talked about RSA, the IVA, and also the sensors. Now let's maybe talk about the use cases that we have.
Sure. We prepared 3 use cases where we put everything together, your great cameras, our software. And the first use case we built was the early detection to increase the time you as an operator can work on a target. There are 4 key points from RSA we used for it. One is the target tracking on map. The second one is the automatic handover, because you need it mostly all of the times. Area management and the threat qualification. So we have a little recording for it. You can see we have 3 Bosch cameras here. There's a small buffer zone, and you see there's the intrusion zone. The intrusion zone is armed. We have 2 fixed cameras with the IVA running on it and a mic for the PTC. And in front of the zone is our buffer zone or target zone. And now you see that the target is appearing. So the operator clicks on it and gets all the information. He gets automatically the best camera displayed. And he can now choose if it's a friend or a foe or undefined. Yeah. And he also sees the target moving and the target path of it, right? So if the person or the enemy is entering the target zone or the alarm zone, it immediately raises an alarm. And you see now the camera is auto-tracking the target. Mm-hmm. You get the speed information, you get also the direction, and you get also the classification, it's a person. The qualification, which is in that case it's an enemy, was done by the operator right up front when he verified it, when he got the video stream. Our second use case is save time with the threat qualification. Mm-hmm. We saw a little bit of it in the last video, but let's get a little bit deeper in it. When a target appears on the map, the operator verifies it with the live video stream. Mm-hmm. And then he can choose between friend, enemy, or undefined. And you see he marked it as a friend, so the target will get a green circle around it. And when he enters the alarm zone, he won't raise an alarm. So, but he still sees the target moving. Never lose track. That's our last use case. Never lose track. I think it's one of the importantest.
I think the most important, right?
Yeah, I think the most important too. That the operators always see the target. What we need here is the target fusion, mm-hmm. and of course the handover from the cameras. We also have a little recording prepared here. So you see the target tracking and the target appears a second time. So that video is or was recorded without the target fusion. So you see there are 2 targets raising up. The operator gets 2 different targets on his left screen or on his dashboard, but in the end it's just 1. We did the same recording and activated the target fusion. And as you can see here, when the person entering the critical zone, it will stay the same target. So the operator never gets a second target, and he can focus on the real target and not on the indifference of the sensors.
That's also quite unique as an experience for the operator, right? Because he never sees two targets, and at any given point of time, it's the single target that he's focusing on.
Absolutely agree, and it decreases the stress level of the operators. It also decreases the number of false alarms, so the operators are really focused on the real targets and not focused on false alarms. So it's a perfect solution. Well, over the last, let's say years, we tested a lot RSA together with Bosch sensors, and then we came up with an idea to build a tower where we mount 3 devices or 3 cameras from you guys. And there's a small server installed with Genetec on it. And we did more or less all of our recordings with our tower, right?
Yes.
And so it's more or less our baby.
Yes. And the key thing is, over a period of time, what we have also understood is for this concept to be shown, it's very important to do a POC. It's very important to show actually how the product works. And that was one of the reasons why we came up with this RSA tower. And it has a lot of different components as well in it. So if you look at it, it's quite a big tower. At the same time, what it has is it can be placed remotely because it has a battery life or battery in it. It supports remote configuration, but at the same time, what we have done is made it as easy as possible to do a demo. Yeah, it has the mic camera on it. It has the fixed cameras inbuilt. We also have put in a Bosch IP speaker so that at sometimes we see use cases where the customer wants, if there is anyone entering the buffer zone, more of an audio alarm than any other action to be taken. So that use case has also been taken care of, and there are a lot of other components as well.
Yeah, we put some access control boards in it to simulate access control with your perimeter, because access control is part of perimeter, right? Also, there's a small router and a small Genetec server installed there. From a software perspective, we installed, of course, Security Center with all the necessary parts, RSA, Sipelia, mission control, but also the Bosch config tool if you have to adjust the cameras from time to time. All of that is running on a Windows server.
Yep.
And the additional hardware we will provide is a laptop running the security desk client on it.
Yep.
So you can connect to the tower and do a pretty cool live demo. So if the tower is maybe needed for a great customer demo.
Or even for events, right?
Or even for events. So if you're interested in, they should reach out to the local sales guys, right?
Yep.
And the local sales guys will reach out to us. And
we can help you also with the setup. And,
of course.
And also with a really good demo that can be shown to customers.
Yeah, and helping setting up the right use cases and what's needed.
Yeah.
With that said, we should move to the Q&A.
Absolutely.
Great.